Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Veda and this is The Simple Budget. Here on my channel I show you simple but effective ways of maintaining a stress-free financial life. If you haven't already, I would love it so much if you would subscribe to my channel. And now let's get into today's video. All right, well, hello everyone. Happy Thursday to you. Today is actually going to be the first cash stuffing of November, but I got a really good question in my comments from yesterday's budget with me, and I wanted to address it because I'm sure it's something that some of you have been wondering, or maybe we haven't talked about it, or maybe you just assumed or didn't know. And because I like to be forthcoming, especially when it comes to financial things and how they impact our family and how you could potentially learn from them as well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the government shutdown before we get into the cash stuffing. So I will go ahead and leave a timestamp up on the screen for you now so that you know where to skip ahead to if you're just here for the cash stuffing. But if you're curious, and this was a comment, I think it's Libby's World. I believe that was, I think that's the name of her. She's been a subscriber here for a little while. But she was asking basically like, why didn't you mention the government shutdown in your budget with me? Why aren't you reducing your expenses down to just the bare bones? And that was such a good question. So we're treating the government shutdown differently because it is not the end of his employment. It is just a temporary hold on his pay. My husband is considered one of the people who has to work without pay. So he's still going to the office every day and working. And so at the end of this government shutdown, he will receive all of his back pay. And so that's why we're not treating this as a, like if he were to lose his job, we're not reducing our expenses and cutting down to bare bones because he is going to get his back pay once the government reopens. But we are living off of our emergency fund right now. We do have plans for if the government shutdown extends beyond where we are able to live off of it. And there are some great banks, by the way. If you happen to be a federal employee and you don't know about this, USAA is actually offering $6,000 to families impacted by the shutdown, interest-free. I am not usually a person who believes in debt, but I don't view this as a debt. I view this as a buffer for your emergency fund, or maybe you don't have an emergency fund yet and you're just kind of getting it set up. And then this happened to you and you're like, shoot, what do we do now? And then actually, beyond that, if it continues past that, which we're really hoping it doesn't, that's part of the reason why we made the decision to not reduce our expenses as if we were, as if my husband had lost his job, is because historically speaking, the longest shutdown was I think 27 or 30 something days, very within a month. And so we sort of are, maybe against what you would choose to do, but we're betting on that as well. But if push comes to shove, we will not be adding any more debt into our household. Technically, we're going to borrow from our retirement, which I know may not be advisable to some people, but as soon as the government reopens, we'll be able to pay it back and we will lose very little in terms of interest and things like that. So that's how we're handling this right now. And I know that it might seem maybe reckless to some of you to borrow against your 401k or not to reduce your expenses or whatever, but this is just how we're choosing to handle it. We feel pretty confident that, something's going to happen at some point. Somebody's going to give, something's going to break, because their constituents, they're not going to be happy with them either. This isn't just like us, they're parading around acting like it's a big deal that they're not collecting that was my oven. They made this big stink about the fact we're not going to be collecting a paycheck while other government employees aren't collecting a paycheck, but they only did that one time. Other government employees are without 2.5 paychecks at this point. So please do not be, what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh my gosh, I'm losing my English here. Don't be misguided by their performative actions. Them not collecting a paycheck is not that big of a deal. Most of them are worth millions anyway because they're all corrupt. So anyways, all of that to say, we're fine. And we are still budgeting as if we're getting paid. And so a lot of our budget goes like back into our emergency fund. So it's just, it all sort of comes out to work out well for us anyway. And we just don't feel the need right now to reduce it as if he's lost his job, because he's still working, he'll get his back pay, and these things, they've never gone over a month before. So much over a month, if it has been a month. So that's just the way we're choosing to do it right now. We may amend our decision in the future, but for the time being, we're pretty comfortable sitting where we are now. But I thought that was such a good question in light of the budget with me. I just didn't think about it at the time because I was mostly trying to make that more of like an educational tool, and I didn't want to weigh it down with the added information of like, oh, by the way, we're living off of our emergency fund right now. But it's not, I mean, it's not like something we're keeping secretive. Obviously, like I'm a really open book with you guys. I don't hide things. I don't hide purchases. I don't hide expenses. I don't hide trials and tribulations. Like I tried to be really forthcoming with all of those things. So I hope you feel like I wasn't keeping it from you. It's just something that I wasn't thinking about discussing given the nature of how I wanted that video to kind of come out. So anyways, that is that. And we are doing the first cash stuffing of November. I have to open up to my cheat sheet here because, you know, there's lots going on. I don't always remember what I'm stuffing in each category. So we're going to be stuffing $914 today. I'm going to go ahead and give this cash account and we will get into it. 1, 2, 3, 54, 55, 20, 40, 60, 86, 20, 40, 60, 87, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 98, 10, 20, 30, 40, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 9. Goodness. 5, 10, 15, 25. Oh, wait, I must have counted wrong because I shouldn't have more than 915 or 914. Let's try this again. 1, 2, 3, 54, 55, 20, 40, 60, 86, 20, 40, 60, 87, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 98, 10, 20, 30, 40, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 9, 5, 10, 15, 25. This is not right. How do I have this much money? Guys, I have no idea. I'm only supposed to have $914 here. I did my due diligence. I have more than that. So here's what we're gonna do. This has never happened to me before. I'm gonna just keep this cash monies over here. I'm gonna just line it all up and we're gonna figure out what happened. And, you know, maybe Mr. Simple and I can have a good chat about it later too, because this is so bizarre. I don't think I've ever had this happen ever in all my days. In all my days. All right. So I'm stuffing 914. So I think it said I have like, I think I counted like 949 or something. Either way, we'll figure it out. We're going to start off with high priority sinking funds as per usual. Groceries is getting 500 today. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 50, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80. Yes. 9,500. Listen, I'm already a shaky counter to begin with, as you all are quite familiar with. And so having this money come out like this all funky is really messing with my brain. So 1, 2, 3, 54, 20, 40, 60, 80, 95. Sorry, I was like trying to do math and count at the same time, and we all know that I was not going to succeed at that. So anyways, that's it for groceries. Taxes is up next, and it's getting $10. So now in taxes, we've got 100, 50, 200, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 300, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Medical is up next and getting 25. I always flub this. 25. And now in medical, we've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 5, 10, 15, 25, 26. And 600 in our high yield savings, which is also nice. We're going to be emptying this one here soon though, because my daughter broke her finger over the weekend. And so we did have to pop over to get that looked at I made an appointment for her on Tuesday. I called on Monday and they couldn't fit her in that day, and they were able to fit her in on Tuesday. And here's a little pro tip from me to you. When my son was 3 and my daughter was a newborn, okay, I just had to make sure I was still filming. When my son was 3 and my daughter was still a newborn, he fell off of like a little half wall that he was climbing on, and he broke his arm. We took him to the emergency room, and after 7 hours in the emergency room with a toddler and a newborn by myself, not because Mr. Simple abandoned us, but because he was actually leaving on a business trip out of the country the next day. So I was like, you have to go home and pack because we're going to be here for forever. So at the end of that 7 hours, they were like, yeah, he fractured his arm, but because it's still swollen, we can't cast it. So you're going to have to call a pediatric orthopedist and have that taken care of later. And I was like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? I just spent 7 hours here with a toddler and a newborn, and you knew this information. Like, if you know that you can't cast it right away, then just send me home and tell me that. They sent me home with a sling. They could have just as easily sent me home with a sling 7 hours earlier. And so our rule ever since then has been, unless it's something like really crucial, like a leg, because a leg, you don't want to mess with that. But if it's a break, like a finger break or an arm break or something like that, we're going to wait that out if it happens over the weekend. And then we're just going to call an orthopedist on Monday and have that taken care of after the swelling goes down. And actually it was funny because when I was telling the ladies in the office that the one intake, the nurse intake person who was like taking down all of my daughter's information, she like nodded her head and smiled, and she's like, that's a really good rule of thumb, rather than sitting in an urgent care or an emergency room for untold amounts of hours only to be told, oh, we can't do anything anyway until the swelling goes down. That was the most irritating experience of my life. And I was like, never again. So anyways, my daughter is healing up quite nicely. She has a follow-up appointment in about a week, and then she has to have the cast on for like a total of 3 weeks. So nothing serious, but glad to have that emergency or that medical fund there for us to be able to utilize. Car expenses is up next, and it's going to be getting $12 today. 10, 11, 12. And now in car expenses, we've got 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 85, and 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, and 98. Plus we have $750 in the bank. So we're just rolling more cash toward this one as we go. Next up is home maintenance, which will be getting 25 today as well. And now in home maintenance, we've got 100, 20, 40, 65, 70, 71, 72, 73, and 174. I think this is the most we've had in home maintenance in a while. And I'm going to say that, and then something's going to happen. Household is up next, and it's getting $25. And I'm just going to tell you right now, it's the beginning of the month, and the first stuffing of the month, I always do the largest breakdown of denominations, meaning I'm going to grab some bills over here that are going to be ridiculous to you, but this is a category that is spent from a lot. And so in order to have the most change available to me, I stuff the broadest spectrum of denominations in it so that I have change. So I did a 10, 2 5s, and 5 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the rest of the month it will just get just like the standard, a normal breakdown of denominations. But now in household, I've got 20, 35, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, and 54. Toiletries is up next and getting $20. And again, I just did silliness. I did a 10, 5, and 5 1s. All right, I will fix that. I'm sure me putting that down irritated some of you. I don't usually like to do that. I don't know why I just did it just then. All right. Now in toiletries, we've got 20, 35, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53. All right, clothes is up next, and it's getting 15. Clothes is making a comeback. We're all very excited for her. And now in clothes, we've got 20, 30, 40, 55, 60, 61, and 62. And the nice thing about clothing purchases from here through Christmas is that they're usually Christmas presents, and so it kind of works to supplement our clothes budget a little bit too, which is nice. The rest of these categories are all each only stuffed once a month. So it's a very small dollar amount that we're saving for annually. So I just kind of spread out how I stuff them for content purposes. First up is actually HOA, and it's going to be getting $17. So the finance coach is getting skipped. All right, so now in HOA, we've got 100, 20, 40, 60, 70, 85, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 200, 1, and 2. And I think that's actually enough to pay our HOA fee, and it's not due till January, so we're doing all right. Yeah, and then union dues is also being skipped this week. All right, so next up, we've got low priority sinking funds. Not a lot gets stuffed in here, but enough. Dine out is skipped. It's only stuffed with side income. Haircuts is getting $20 this week. And now in haircuts, we've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 50. Oops. Home decor also skipped. It's just not needed for the time being. Dates is also skipped this week. His is getting 15. And now in he's got 50, 65, 70, 71, 72, and 73. And if you're new to my channel and you're wondering what my categories are or what they mean or stand for, the best videos to watch are my budget with me, because I really go into more explanation and detail on each of those categories. I do every now and then kind of like give a very quick little description of what each category, not each category, but the occasional category is. But if you want that more broadened explanation, my budget with me is the one to go to. Hers is getting $15 this week. This is, I explained actually in my budget with me, I get a total of $195 of spending money a month. I break that down into 3 different categories. So I have hers, which is just my spending money, and just a little bit to get me through each month to kind of give me a little bit of like impulse purchase satisfaction, but it's not a lot. It's like, you know, something little. And then Save Your Money Ho is for me to encourage myself to stop being so impulsive and make meaningful purchases. And so it's going to be getting $25 this week. And now I have 20, 40, 60, 75, 80, 81, 82, 83, and 84. I just got lots of really good basics from the Gap, believe it or not. I really like the Gap because they carry talls, and I am a tall girl, and they're really good with their basics are really good, and they hold up really well. They wash really well, and so I just got like a couple of like cotton turtlenecks and some cotton t-shirts, but like nicer t-shirts. They actually look a little bit like Skims, but I absolutely refuse to pay Skims money, and also Skims doesn't come in talls, and so I'm going to absolutely go for the thing that's not going to have my belly hanging out in public or showing my stomach in public. I don't mind like a little bit of a crop, but if something is not like a tall, it becomes a little questionable. So anyways, rant over. Pretty Hair is up next, and it's going to be getting $15. This also funds my haircut. And I've been stuffing it a little bit more than usual lately, just so that I have a nice tip to give to my hairdresser when I go for my December appointment, because I like to tip them more at Christmas time. So now in Pretty Hair, I have 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 5, 10, 15, 20. Next up is Family Fun. It's going to be getting $10 this week. And now in Family Fun, we've got 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And House Project is also sort of on like a stuffing hiatus while we save up for our emergency fund, despite the temporary interruption that we are enduring right now with this government shutdown. Hopefully they end it soon. Hopefully. It's like one of their jobs, right? Imagine not doing your job and still having the audacity to get paid. Anyways, Gifts is up next. That we are now in holiday sinking funds, and Gifts is going to be getting $10. And I did mention I'm stuffing it a little bit more this month, just because I want to make sure that we have enough money to like cover a hostess gift for if we get invited places over the holidays. So this will help with that. And now in Gifts, we've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, and 33. And actually, let me just say something about the shutdown. Just one more thing. I know that there's a lot of attention right now on people who will not be able to collect their SNAP benefits and things like that. But there are like, I don't remember the exact number. I know it's over 1 million government employees, and they're all furloughed. Some of them are still being forced to work and not collect a paycheck, and the other ones are furloughed and staying home and not collecting a paycheck. And these are people who are gainfully employed, they have earned their incomes, and they are not being paid because politicians are not doing their jobs. And a lot of them are very, very stressed out. The average American cannot come up with $1,000 in an emergency. I think even the average American can't come up with $500 in an emergency. And unfortunately, government employees are no different than that. And I don't know about all of the government employees, but I do know about the ones that my husband works with, and they are stressed. And we are very grateful that we discovered the Ramsey method when we did, and we started taking our finances seriously when we did. And I can't imagine being in the position of having, like, where a lot of them are, where getting one paycheck or not getting one paycheck interfered with them being able to afford their lives. So if you think of it, say a little prayer for those people if you're the praying sort, or send good thoughts or whatever. But call your people, call your representatives, call your senators, and yell at them. Like, this is their job. They are wasting your tax dollars by not passing a budget. And I know that that maybe won't bother all of you, but like, this is one of the functions of their job. And I just want you to imagine that if you didn't perform a function of your job, what your employers would do to you. You would be reprimanded, and then maybe even eventually fired. And getting rid of these people is not very easy. So just remember that on the other side of this, everybody is pointing fingers. It's the Republicans' faults. It's the Democrats' faults. It's all of their faults. It's every single one of their jobs to pass a budget, a reasonable budget. And so they're all fighting and they're utilizing people's livelihoods as like, what do you call it? Like a ransom almost. That's not the right word, but as collateral. They're using other people's livelihoods as collateral in their argument with each other instead of just doing their job. And so I just ask you to think of those people also who do work for the government and are not collecting a paycheck right now, because missing one paycheck is a big deal for most people. So that's the part of it that really upsets me more than anything is like, and I understand I'm also personally touched by this, but it's still like, it's so unethical to force people to work for you. Like, I think of all those air traffic controllers. Like, actually, this made me laugh the other day. I was like, these are not the people to mess with, guys. Air traffic controllers, like, you're not going to pay them and you're going to force them to work. I don't know if that's the wisest decision to make. So anyways, I just ask you to think about those people too. I know it's really easy to focus on the people who are not going to be able to collect their SNAP benefits and like be enraged over that. But I also ask you to think about the people who have a contractual obligation with their employer, who just so happens to be the federal government, who is not paying them the wages they've earned. So anyways, moving right along. Partey is up next, and it's getting $15 this week. And now in Partey, we've got 100, 50, 70, 80, 90, 200, 5, 10, 11, and 12. Our little holidays are all only stuffed once a month. Valentine's Day gets its monthly stuff, usually the first stuffing, and it's getting $5. And now in Valentine's Day, we've got 20, 35, 45. Easter is being skipped. Vacation is getting its first stuff in quite a while. It's getting $75. And that's what she's got in that envelope. School Things is also getting its first stuff in a little, well, no, it was just emptied. It's not getting its first stuff in a while, but it is needing this $10 I am putting inside. Halloween is being skipped, as is Thanksgiving. Eat dessert first. Interesting. Oh. Guys, oh my gosh. I just made the biggest flub. I figured out where my money went wrong. I was looking at the wrong cheat sheet. I'm gonna have to go back through here and figure this out. Because, hold on. So, did I let's just go back. Let's go back. Gifts, I stuffed 10. It was supposed to get 10. Partey, do we remember if I stuffed 10 or 15? I'm gonna have to go back and look over my footage. Valentine's was supposed to be stuffed. Vacation was supposed to get the 75, so that's good. School Things was actually supposed to get 15, not 10. Oh my gosh, this is why my number was wonky. Thanksgiving not being stuffed. Eat dessert first is getting stuffed. It's getting 25. And now in Eat Dessert First, we've got 100, 20, 40, 55. I think I'm just gonna have a $5 discrepancy, but I think I know what it is, so we'll figure it out. Christmas is getting $50 this week. And so now in Christmas, we've got 50, 100, 50, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. So 180, I think that's what I just said. And I am going to have to go back and figure out where this $5 is from, and also to make sure that I didn't stuff categories that I wasn't supposed to stuff. This is going to be such an adventure, you guys. Such an adventure. Okay. I mean, what a day. What a day. I mean, it's not that big of a deal because I can just go back to the cash stuffing plan that I was looking at initially and figure out what I did wrong and undo it and redo it. But that's still kind of a pain in the tuchus. Anyway, if there's ever an example for why you need to keep notes and keep very tight track of what you do with your finances, this is the example of that, because I'm so glad I have those pages that I can look at and discern where I went wrong. So that's what we'll be doing. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, I would love it so much if you would give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. I will be back here again with you tomorrow doing a weekly check-in, and it's going to be a big one. So buckle in. It's going to be a good time. Anyways, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow. And have a good one, everyone. Alrighty. Bye.